Monday on Little House. When Jenny's father dies, she blames herself.
I killed him.
Little House. Then Walter Matthau's making it hot for the CIA. And Glenda Jackson. They're all tied up, playing
Hopscotch. Good title.
Monday on NBC. Just watch us now.
We are tired of being America's #1 punching bag, and we're going to hit back at those companies that are attacking us.
Postal workers say they are mad and they are not going to take it anymore. Terry Benton will have that story. Also tonight, an update on the Tylenol investigation. We'll take you to an Omaha record convention, and Ann Schatz will have highlights of all the important baseball games. The news is next.
You're looking at the new Wherever handheld portable electric can opener, the Wherever Can Handler. The Wherever Can Handler can open small cans, big cans, tall cans, almost all cans. And when you're finished opening cans, you can put it away on the wall or in a drawer. The new Wherever Can Handler. Now you can put your electric can opener where it belongs.
In every drop of this remarkable new cough formula, you get more kinds of relief than in a whole bottle of Vicks or Robitussin. Every drop of new Quadrin contains 4 medicines to give 4 kinds of relief in each dose. Quadrin lessens sore throat pain, loosens upper chest congestion, relieves postnasal drip, and finally quiets your cough reflex for up to 8 hours. 4 kinds of relief in every drop of new Quadrin. When you need it, why on earth take anything less?
It's 10 o'clock, and this is KMTV, where the news comes first. Newscenter 3, with Mike Oling, Tony Cervantes, and Ann Schatz.
Good evening. In Chicago, authorities believe they know when the Tylenol capsules may have been laced with cyanide. They have determined the lacing took place at the retail level at the 6 stores where the deadly Tylenol was bought. Authorities say it was the work of a random killer.
Someone probably went in, either stole or bought or otherwise secured Tylenol, altered the bottles, and then placed them one at a time on various shelves around the area.
However, earlier reports that a suspect in the killings has been located are being downplayed. One man has been questioned, but no arrests have been made. Consumers nationwide are being urged not to take any extra-strength Tylenol capsules until the mystery is clarified. An 18-year-old North Omaha man is dead following an argument last night. Fred Biddle was stabbed once in the heart and died about 4 hours later at St. Joan North. 26-year-old Evelyn Sane was questioned in the incident. However, police are convinced she acted in self-defense. The couple had been arguing, with Sane wanting Biddle to leave her home. According to police, Biddle became upset and began abusing Sane physically. The first 2 and possibly 3 new independent medical emergency centers opened in Omaha today. Roseanne Shannon fills in the details.
We've had several ear infections, a lady whose knee was bothering her, a baby who had a high temperature.
Dr. John Otto says it was a pretty typical Sunday in a typical emergency room. But this new emergency center isn't really typical here in Omaha. While freestanding emergency clinics have been springing up all over the country, the Midwest Family Emergency Center at 85th and Cass is the only facility of its type currently operating here. The center charges will be about 30 to 50% lower than typical hospital fees, but somewhat higher than for similar treatment in a physician's office.
We don't have the overhead that the emergency rooms do, and the fact that we're not open 24 hours a day, we're open 16 hours a day from 8 to midnight. And then also our machinery and equipment is here specifically for our needs, and we don't pass any costs from other areas of the hospital or facility through here.
Dr. Otto says the center can treat most any emergency, though it was not set up with the idea of handling acute problems requiring immediate hospitalization. Otto says the center will primarily serve the 85% of patients seen in an emergency room who could have been treated in a physician's office. The center will be open from 8 a.m. to midnight, 365 days a year. Dr. Otto says he feels there is a demonstrated need for a facility of this nature in the Omaha area. Yesterday, before the doors of the center were even open, 7 people sought emergency aid here, and today, in the first 2 hours of operation, 3 people were treated. Roseanne Shannon, News Center 3.
America's troubled economy and the embattled trade union movement provided much of the fuel today during a local labor celebration. The Omaha Postal Workers Union is celebrating its 75th anniversary. Postal Worker National President Morris Biller made an appearance and talked with our Terry Benton about the union and the economy.
What do you do if you have a bad image? Well, the American Postal Workers Union is hiring a famous advertising agency and spending over $1 million in an effort to become letter perfect for you.
110 billion pieces of mail a year. Who in the world handles all that?
Why, we do, the American Postal Workers. Letters to family far from home.
There are thousands of postal workers who handle millions of letters, and their union president says they don't get respect, and in many cases they even get ridiculed.
The American Postal Workers.
We're trying to be letter perfect for you, but more than that, you raise a very sensitive point with us. We are tired of being America's #1 punching bag, and we're going to hit back.
The fiery Mo Biller is president of over 300,000 postal workers. Recently, Biller attacked Federal Express when they attacked the image of the postal union.
And you remember how they try to depict us, but that was a gutter type of advertising, met no standards at all.
The union boss also has a clinical opinion of President Reagan's economic plan.
If we left with a cold or the flu under Jimmy Carter, I think the American economy has got pneumonia today.
For the record, Biller is against the 9-digit zip code and is equally opposed to keeping any system that would perpetuate subpar postal workers.
That's just not a fact of life. A postal worker can be fired for just cause, just like anybody else.
And with all of that in mind, the union president says commercials depicting the true postal union will start in mid-October.
The American Postal Workers. We try to be letter perfect for you.
Terry Benton, News Center 3, tonight.
This is good land, and it's a good life. I'm proud to be a farmer. Because of my neighbors and me, all of us eat better and cheaper. In fact, Americans spend less of their paycheck for food now than they did at the end of World War II. That's because we're producing more grain and livestock than ever before. Farmers are a strong part of America's economic muscle, and I'm proud of that.
This message brought to you by Chapman Commodities of Omaha, because we all depend on America's farmers.
I remember that picnic and those muffins. Nobody makes muffins anymore.
Muffins?
Whatever happened to that beef stew?
Rascal.
Perkins introduces new dinners with touches of home, like homestead beef stew, new buttermilk batter fried chicken, and buttermilk sour cream muffins made fresh each day.
You brought me here for this? Mm-hmm. Good.
Brutus walked me through the mud in white pants, and I'm out of bleach. Use mine, Sue. No liquid bleach. This bleach will clean that muddy dirt better.
Sue doesn't know she's getting Biz Bleach. Biz is bleach, plus energized cleaners liquids don't have.
They're so white and bright. What was that bleach? Biz bleach. Biz is bleach? I better get some. Or a smaller dog.
Discover Biz Bleach. And discover a cleaner, whiter wash.
It's happening right before your eyes. A revealing look at Yonkers' 126th anniversary sale. 20% savings and more store-wide. Discover the lowest prices of the year in most departments of every Yonkers store. Fashions for men, women, and children. Furnishings for your home with savings of 20% and more throughout the store. Something for everyone. No other sale can hold a candle to it. Yonkers' 126th anniversary sale.
In the Middle East, 6 Israeli soldiers have been killed and another 22 wounded in an ambush in Lebanon. The attack occurred near the front line separating Israeli and Syrian forces. The attackers reportedly escaped, and Israeli troops are searching an area of East Beirut at this hour. The Israeli troops are riding in a military bus driving along the Beirut to Damascus highway. Meanwhile, Israeli television claims to have a man who participated in the Beirut massacre of Palestinians. The man was interviewed on Israeli TV and claims to be a Christian militia commander. In the interview, the man said he was very happy about the killings, and he termed the international attention paid to the slaughter, quote, much ado about nothing. Off camera, the man claimed to have killed 15 people in the refugee camps. In New Mexico, 4 people were killed and 3 others injured when a hot air balloon caught fire. The 12-story tall balloon exploded in a ball of flames when 2 propane tanks blew up. Witnesses say some of those who were killed fell or jumped to their deaths. The balloon had been part of an annual festival in Albuquerque. Tomorrow, the United States Supreme Court begins a new term, and it is immediately facing 3 sensitive issues. The High Court must tackle abortion regulation and federal tax breaks for racially discriminatory private schools. The justices must also decide the constitutionality of the one-house veto. It is a maneuver by Congress to short-circuit the way a bill becomes law. It involves the balance of power between Congress and the President. The United States has always been deeply divided concerning the right to have an abortion and the wisdom of keeping newborns on life support machines. But the issues need continual discussion. That was part of the message given during a recent lecture series. The Reverend Richard McCormick blasted the fact that there were 1.5 million abortions in the United States last year. He wants to see the regulations allowing abortions to be tightened.
Basically, I'd like to see more protection in law than presently exists for fetal life.
On keeping newborns on life support machines, McCormick applauds the miracles they perform. However, when the infant is doomed to spending its entire existence in such a state, McCormick says society will eventually face the consequences.
How far should we go? When should we stop? You may cause blindness, you may cause all kinds of serious problems that cripple a child, and eventually you're not going to do any good for that child. There's the problem. When do you stop?
McCormick is a professor at the Kennedy Institute of Ethics in Washington, D.C.
Shrimply delicious!
Shrimply delicious!
Let Long John Silver's put a smile on your taste.
Our shrimp and fish special is a treat that's worth the trip. 4 big shrimp and a crispy fish fillet. Complete.
Shrimply delicious!
Shrimp and fish special at a shrimply sensational price.
Let Long John Silver's put a smile on your taste.
Shrimply delicious!
I've had a dozen feed salesmen tell me all about their hog supplements. Who do I believe? The one with the guarantee. As far as I'm concerned, no other supplement or premix will produce a pound of pork for less than Kent GM Base Plus. I know, I've tried. My Kent dealer talks my language. No gimmicks, just results. He's the one with the money-back guarantee.
GM Base Plus supplement from Kent.
First they tell me I have 2 weeks to put the marketing plan together. Then they tell me I have 3 days. Made me wonder why I ever quit the job in Pittsburgh. So last night, I called my old friend Miles. For 5 minutes, I told him how tough things are here. And for the next 5 minutes, he told me how good I really have it.
A long-distance visit with an old friend. It costs so little. 10 minutes almost anywhere in the country, under $3.
It's nice to get away for a while.
Tony, it broke my heart to have to be inside today. It was beautiful.
For all of us that have to do the work inside on Sundays like today, I'm sure all of us felt the same way. It was gorgeous outside, and that is going to continue at least for the most of the upcoming week. Other portions of the country, however, are not in as fortunate conditions. Let's look at the current stats. In Omaha, we have 62 degrees, had a high this afternoon of 74. Temperature converts to 17 on the Celsius scale. Humidity is kind of up there, 87%. Barometer is at 29.98 and steady, and winds are barely from the southeast at 6 miles per hour. In Lincoln, 57 degrees, 75 for the capital city this afternoon. The overnight low for Lincoln, 45. Humidity at 72%. Barometer is at 29.98 and steady, and winds from the southeast at 6 miles per hour. Well, back at the weather map, we've got 2 frontal systems, both of which have been causing a stir in the weather, so to speak. Scattered rain showers from upper New York all the way down throughout Florida and the Gulf states. Miami, 1.5 inches of rain this afternoon. This frontal system continues to push eastward and will continue to drop rain in those two sections for tonight and tomorrow morning. For us, high pressures to the east of us and low pressures to the west of us have been combining to bring us a nice southerly breeze. Winds have been very, very nice and calm and bringing in the cool weather. It will continue as the low and the high continue to move eastward. 99 degrees at Presidio, Texas this afternoon for the nation's topper, and for a high in Havre, Montana, they only hit 42 degrees. We've got a cold front shooting down from a low-pressure system up in Canada that will pass through. It is already starting to spread cloudiness into the western part of the state, but will not bring us any rain. Here's the satellite picture we have for you. You can see the clouds that have moved into the western part of the state. No real rain showers falling in Nebraska, but those clouds will kind of hang with us for a while. Temperatures range from 57 degrees in Des Moines, 65 in Shenandoah, 59 degrees up at Sioux City, 58 Grand Island, 52 at Scotts Bluff, and 63 at Valentine. Our forecast looks like this. Overnight, we're calling for partly cloudy and continued cool weather. A low tonight, give it about 49, 50 degrees. Winds from the south at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow, beautiful day, mostly sunny and warm with a high of about 78 degrees. A little breezy late in the afternoon, winds from the south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. For tomorrow night, partly cloudy, continued cool with a low of 52. Winds from the south at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Extended forecast, and it is a good-looking forecast. Variable cloudiness on Tuesday with a high of 76. A chance for morning showers on Wednesday. Generally partly cloudy, though, with a high of 73. And Thursday, mostly sunny and mild with a high of about 73 degrees as well. Here's the outlook forecast, October 9th through the 13th. And look at this, above normal temperatures, generally in the 70s for this time of the year, and no measurable precipitation expected. Again, a good-looking forecast for, what, middle of October?
We can't ask for a better one.
Couldn't ask for anything more, but the frost freeze is right around the corner.
Thank you, Tony.
All right.
If music is your thing, then Sokol Hall in Omaha was the place to be today. There was a convention of local record collectors. One of the organizers, Barry Botker, is a self-confessed vinyl junkie.
It's like me, I'm looking for Turtles singles. And so I go through and I say, you have any Turtles singles? And I buy everything. You know, I've got 40 some odd Monkees albums. They only made 9, but I've got different pressings of French pressings, German pressings, Japanese pressings, everything. And I've got to have everything that they ever did.
Barry and his friend Michael Majeski organized this record convention as a labor of love. Record hunters could find 25-cent bargains or a very collectible Gene Vincent album costing $100. But if you missed today's big record sale, don't lose heart or wipe out. Be glad all over. There will be another record convention in March.
And in the major leagues, all the division races have been decided. We'll have highlights of all the important games, plus another look at that Nebraska game and the U.N.O. Heartbreaker. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
Introducing Chicken McNuggets. McDonald's new McNuggets. A McNugget is a boneless chunk of tender-tasted chicken with 4 kinds of sauce to choose, especially for dipping. Barbecue, sweet and sour, honey too. 'Cause you deserve a break today.
With chicken cooked the McDonald's way. Ooh, McNuggets.
Chicken McNuggets.
Here at one end, American farmers. They want a good price for the food they grow. At the other end, American consumers. They don't want to pay 1 penny too much for the food they eat. How do you make both ends meet? If you're the people at Cargill, you help by coming up with more efficient ways to store, care for, and deliver the farmer's grain, so that grain gets from where it's grown to where it's needed at the lowest possible cost. That's what you do if you're the people at Cargill. You help make both ends meet.
Nebraska Furniture Mart is at it again. There's a grand renovation going on in the appliance department. This means thousands of dollars worth of merchandise must be sold. Truly incredible savings on Hotpoint refrigerators, ranges, dishwashers, washers, and dryers. Plus, get a 9-piece set of famous Anchor Hucking cookware absolutely free with the purchase of any Hotpoint microwave. You'll find grand renovation values everywhere in the store at the Money Saver, Nebraska Furniture Mart, Omaha.
What a way to wrap things up in the major leagues today. 2 division races to be decided on this, the final day of the season. Now, in the American League, Milwaukee and Baltimore went at it. Both teams tied for first in the American League East. So the season came down to this one final game. Now, Robin Yount did the job for the Brewers early on, hitting 2 big home runs to give the Brewers that cushiony 3-0 lead. Or was it? The Orioles, who had beaten Milwaukee 3 times in 24 hours, cut the lead on this solo shot by Glenn Gulliver to make it 3-1 after 5, the crowd smelling a comeback. But the Brewers put it away behind the pitching of Don Sutton and their big bats. Cecil Cooper with the home run in the 6th, and then here comes the clincher. Ted Simmons, a 3-run shot deep to left field, icing the 10-2 win for Milwaukee to clinch the American League Eastern Division title. But perhaps the highlight of the game was this emotional ovation the huge crowd gave Earl Weaver in this, his last game as manager for the Birds. Weaver tearfully waved to the crowd who refused to leave, paying tribute to one of the finest managers ever in the game of baseball. Other games in the American League today. Oakland takes Kansas City by a score of 6-3. California defeats Texas 7-6. Remember now, California will face Milwaukee in the American League playoffs to determine the pennant winner. Chicago, a winner over Minnesota, 6-1. It took 11 innings, but Boston turned back New York by a score of 5-3. Toronto, a winner in the season finale over Seattle, 5-2. And Detroit crushes Cleveland by a score of 9-1. And in the National Leagues, the Atlanta Braves, with their 1-game lead in the West, needed only 1 win over San Diego today, or a Los Angeles loss, to clinch the title. The Braves coming up with the better half of the deal. Now, the San Diego Chicken had things in his own hands, but it was the Braves that took the short-lived lead here on Terry Harper, solo shot in the top of the 5th inning, 1-0 Braves. But in the bottom of the 5th, a freak play opened up the door for San Diego and sent the Braves' hopes up in smoke. This routine double play grounder hits the umpire when he doesn't get out of the way in time, and everybody's safe. San Diego then loads the bases before Alan Wiggins clears them all with this triple down the left field line. San Diego going on to the 5-1 win over Atlanta. But why are the Braves so happy in the dugout cheering away? Well, certain activities some 450 miles north got the Braves off the hook. Now, a Dodger win, as I said, would force a 1-game playoff, and Ron Cey put L.A. up 2-0 on this big home run in the 2nd inning. But San Francisco rallied with 2 runs in their bottom of the half to tie it up before the Giants pulled the spoiler roll in the bottom of the 7th with 2 down, 2 on. Veteran Joe Morgan blasts this 3-run homer to right to make it 5-2 Giants. Now, L.A. did score 1 in the 8th on Dusty Baker's bullet to left field, coming right here, boom, down the line, scoring Ken Landroth from second base. But the Giants held L.A. off in the 9th inning to win it by a score of 5-3, ending L.A.'s big hopes of a Western Division crown. Remember, they were the World Series champs last year, and they give that title to the Atlanta Braves. And the final results of the National League for you. Montreal defeats Pittsburgh by a score of 6-1. This was Willie Stargell's last day in uniform for the Bucks, and in his last trip to the plate, he got an infield single. Good way to end things. Carlton wins his 23rd for Philadelphia as they defeat New York by a score of 4-1. Carlton could be your Cy Young Award winner. St. Louis turns back Chicago by a score of 5-4 in 14 innings. The Cards will start the playoffs against Atlanta at home. And Houston shuts out Cincy by a score of 3-0, Cincy's worst season ever. Turning to football, you can't blame Nebraska if they're still celebrating that big win over Auburn yesterday. The Huskers put on a tough Tiger team on the ropes and put them away in the 2nd half for good. Don't think for a second that the Huskers weren't hearing the whispers of the top 20 pollsters, saying that Nebraska was ripe for another upset on the road against 17th rated Auburn to boot. You gotta believe that the Huskers had something to prove yesterday, and they did it with plenty of firepower. The Huskers came into the game pretty banged up without the services of Roger Craig for one, but his backups filled in nicely. In fact, Doug Wilkening got the first score of the game, a 15-yarder that quieted the overflow crowd down in a hurry.
It opened up real good. It was a trap play. It's designed to run against an aggressive defense, and they are coming real hard on that play. It opened right up, and all I really had to do is just run with the ball.
But the Tiger fans began to roar when Auburn drove for the tying touchdown. Randy Cadwell hitting 2 big completions to Ed West to the Husker 7-yard line, and that set up the diving 4-yard touchdown by Bo Jackson. Brand new ball game, 7-7 after 1 quarter. Both defenses got stingy in the 2nd period until the Huskers finally broke loose late in that quarter. Turner Gill winging it to Todd Brown, a beautiful throw and route. The 58-yarder gives Nebraska the 14-7 lead and very much changes the tide of this ball game.
We thought we could maybe run some type of route like that, a hook and go or a horn or whatever, and
if we caught him in that right situation when we did, and they was in a man-to-man, and he just outran him. It shouldn't have been, because they was like 3rd and 20 or something like that. He should have been back deep, but it just one thing do is the back happening, and Todd got right behind him.
And from there, it was all Nebraska. Mike Rozier, who rushed for 104 yards, scored twice in the second half on runs of 2 and 12 yards to up that score to 28-7, and the rout was on.
Well, the first half, we was a little tired, it was kind of hot, everybody was worrying about, can we adjust to this heat, but we came this far to win, we didn't want to lose, so we all got together. Second half, we talked about it, just went out there and did our job.
The Husker Blackshirts didn't give up another point in the ball game. Alan Lyday picks off Campbell's pass here. Nebraska, in the meantime, is tacking on 2 more scores in the 4th quarter. A 41-yard jaunt by Mark Shaleen, and then a 13-yard run by Tim Broomgall. Pretty nice job by the backups, huh? Huskers on their way to 504 total offensive yards, 342 of those coming on the ground. Nebraska very impressive in their convincing win against Auburn on the road, 41-7. The Huskers raising their record to 3-1 and hoping to climb in the polls. But more importantly, that win is a perfect way to set up the Big 8 season, which starts next week at Colorado. College football saw its share of upsets and close games yesterday, not like that Nebraska one. Let's take a look at some of those highlights. LSU had the big upset of the day, knocking off 5th-rated Florida. The big star of the day was Bengals freshman Dalton Hillier. He scored 3 times, including this electrifying 41-yard pass completion. He broke a bunch of tackles here, leading LSU to the 24-13 win. And Georgia survived a scare from Mississippi State. Herschel Walker bailed the Dogs out, rushing for 215 yards on 39 carries. Georgia hanging on to that 29-22 win. A big day for Walker. Sticking with football, the U.N.O. Mavs have been a tough team to figure out so far this year. They've been up and down all season long, losing in that final seconds to South Dakota last night. The Mavs yet to win at home this year. Gordy Poole has the story.
He had 11 passes batted down, about 7 of them on the line of scrimmage and 4 by the linebackers, and that's an unusual situation, just one of those defensive battles. Our offense and their offense played with a lot of intensity, but the defense dominated.
Those are a few comments from U.N.O. Maverick head coach Sandy Buda in an interview this afternoon after last night's 6-3 homecoming loss to the South Dakota Coyotes at Al Caniglia Field. With 1:39 left in the game and the score tied at 3-all, the Coyotes' Kurt Seibel, brother of Nebraska's Kevin Seibel, booted a 42-yard field goal to put South Dakota on top 6-3. Then the Mavs, under the guidance of sophomore quarterback Randy Naran, went to work hoping for one last shot at victory. On 4th and 1 at the SDU 12-yard line with 8 seconds left, the Mavs go for the win instead of the tie as Naran throws to James Quates in the end zone, but Jeff Davis breaks up the pass to preserve a 6-3 South Dakota win. If the same situation arose again, what would Coach Buda do?
Go for the win, and that's what it's all about. We elected to do that when I really felt like Mark Pettit could kick a field goal and tie the ball game up, but that was the decision of 9,500 fans, and I wasn't going to go against it. But where we lost the football game is the fact that we had some drives going in the second half. We made adjustments. We had 1 first down the first half and 11 the second half. They had 4 the first half and only 5 the second half. So we made some adjustments, but we didn't cash in because we turned the ball over.
I'm Gordy Poole, Newscenter 3.
Okay, that's great.
Are we finished over there, guys?
We are done.
A couple of things I wanted to tell you. U.N.O. Players of the Week on the offense was field goal kicker Mark Pettit. Defensively, there was a couple guys named Ron Susi and Jerry Scow.
And who are your favorites for the series?
Well, you're putting me on the spot, but if I had to pick somebody, I think I'd go with the Brewers for the American League. I think they'll defeat California. I know you don't.
California, all the
you don't
stars,
agree
California.
with me there.
Mr.
And,
October.
I think I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
I like the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I'll take the Halos.
Okay.
We'll be back with more right after this.
Household Finance is backing Tom Emmerich.
I try and go on a one-on-one basis. You tell a person what's expected of them, they're going to do it. And I think there's a lot of personal pride and satisfaction in what a person does.
If you're working for a better life, like Tom Emmerich, you're the person we want to back at Household Finance with personal loans up to $5,000 or more.
We're here today, giving folks a chance, backing you all the way. Household Finance.
There's a place on your face that skincare forgot. Excel marks the spot. Skincare comes to your lips in a totally new kind of lipstick. Excel has vitamins and emollients to moisturize, plus special ingredients to protect and heal, so lips look better, lips feel better.
Lips are better.
Excel by Quencher in 20 deep caring colors for the place on your face that skincare forgot. Excel marks the spot.
An important message from Burger King.
For a long time, there's been McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's. Some things change, some don't. But the Whopper beat the Big Mac for best taste overall among consumers of both burgers. In a similar test, we beat Wendy's single. Sorry, guys. As a result, there will still be McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's, but not necessarily in that order.
Aren't you hungry for Burger King now?
The changing of the seasons is perhaps the most beautiful time here in the Midlands. Like a slowly developing painting, autumn is beginning to attract our attention with its colors. There is a road just outside Omaha where travelers can see nature's painting beginning to glow. It is Highway 6. That's our news for this evening. I'm Mike Oling. I'll be joining Bev Chapman tomorrow on News Center 3. Good night.
Cyclone football returns to Total Radio KMA. Follow ISU all season long, and for the area's most comprehensive college scoreboard, stay with your sports leader, KMA.